Welcome back to the Crypto channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin just confirms a new warning signal in the short term as the Federal Reserve just cut interest rates, which was the expected outcome, but we've now already wiped out the liquidity to the upside, at least on this time frame in the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. So due to some of these reasons right here, I've just reduced the size of this Bitcoin long position over on my BTNX account. So in just a moment, I'll be talking about my exact Bitcoin trading strategy, sharing with you exactly how I'm planning to profit from the next Bitcoin move, while Ethereum is currently running into and starting to bounce a little bit from a very important area in the short term, while the price of Solana is doing the same, retesting a key Fibonacci level. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, taking a look at the news today, because of course we just saw the Federal Reserve meeting, the FOMC meeting, where the Fed did indeed decide to cut interest rates by 25 basis points or 0.25%, which was the expected outcome. And so as usual, within a matter of seconds from this information being released, I let you know about it over on my Twitter or X in real time. So once again, if you want to get these real-time updates from time to time, check out my Twitter link below this video. But like I explained in more detail in my last video here on the channel, because this rate cut was the expected outcome, it was pretty much entirely priced into the market. Of course, that was relatively neutral for markets. Everyone was already expecting it, already pricing it in, which means if we get the expected outcome, we shouldn't really see any massive move to the upside or to the downside because it's already being priced in. But we can finally see that the Federal Reserve is resuming interest rate cuts again for the first time in a long time, since basically the end of last year was the last changes to interest rates, as we could see. So for most of this year, pretty much all of this year until now, we've seen basically the Federal Reserve pause interest rates where they were. And so that's the update on the FOMC meeting, the Fed meeting. Not a lot has changed over the last one day in this regard, just that rate cut, which was the expected outcome. But if we're taking a look at the weekly Bitcoin price chart, at least for now, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, technically we still have a bearish divergence to watch out for, which has not yet been invalidated. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, obviously right now we're getting very close towards a bullish crossover in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD at the current rate. Potentially in a few days from now, maybe a week from now, that sort of time frame, we could possibly start to see a bullish crossover in this indicator, but obviously it's not yet confirmed. And so we're not necessarily seeing a significant amount of momentum towards the upside like what we saw back here, for example, but of course we are showing some strength, at least in the short term. And once again, I've been saying that every day over the last couple of weeks, most likely pointing towards a bit of a rebound or a short-term bullish recovery as the most likely outcome, is what I've been saying every day for around 2 weeks now on the channel, and I continue to say it right now. We're most likely going to see a little bit more of a bullish relief here. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, we can see that right now the price of Bitcoin is continuing to struggle at the exact resistance that I've been warning about since basically all the way back down here. I've been targeting closer towards roughly 117,000 as a very crucial level on the price chart, and currently that is acting as strong resistance. Based on the daily candle closes here, we pretty much perfectly rejected from around 117,000. We did not confirm any daily candle close above 117,000, as we could see. And so obviously that's still acting as strong resistance for the price of Bitcoin. So as I've been saying for a long time, expect the price to struggle and possibly reject from roughly 117,000. But if we can confirm a breakout above 117,000 with confirmation, so ideally a daily candle close above 117,000 and actually holding above that level, in that situation, the next major target or point of resistance to watch out for is sitting at around 120,000, and above that I'll be targeting closer towards all-time highs. But for now, still expect 117,000 to act as strong resistance. And as for support, in case we were to see a little bit of a pullback or whatever, expect some support at around 114,500, more support at around 113 to 113,500, more support at just above 110,000, and major support in between 106.7k to 107.6k. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that right now the price of Bitcoin is still within a short-term bullish trend, forming higher lows and higher highs, at least for now. But once again, we're still perfectly running into my exact level of resistance that I've been talking about for a long time now, since before all of these rejections back here. I've been targeting roughly 116 116,500 to 117,000. So give or take 117k is a strong level of resistance, still perfectly rejecting from around that level. And as I talked about in my last video, there was a possible bearish divergence forming yesterday that I talked about in my last video, but this possible bearish divergence has now confirmed today. So as we can see here, we've now clearly confirmed a higher high in place in the price of Bitcoin in the candle closes, while also now confirming a new lower high in place in the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI. And now it's important to mention that a bearish divergence by itself does not always result in a trend reversal from a bullish trend into a new bearish trend. Sometimes that can be the case, but other times it may just cause a slight little cool off, a slight pullback in the short term, or some choppy sideways price action, and then ultimately continuing the bullish trend later on. So it's just worth knowing that a bearish divergence is not always a trend reversal signal. But what it does mean most of the time, almost all the time, a bearish divergence ultimately causes a lot of weakness and a lack in bullish momentum following the bearish divergence. And here on the 4-hour time frame, usually a divergence plays out over a couple of days, give or take, before it starts to lose relevance. And so considering this new bearish divergence only confirmed a matter of hours ago, just over the last 1 day, it's likely this will continue to play out at least over the next 1 day, most likely over the next couple of days or the next few days. And so in other words, expect a bit of weakness, a bit of a cool off for the price of Bitcoin over the next couple of days here is a very likely outcome. And what I mean by cool off is at best maybe just a bit of choppy sideways price action, or quite possibly a slight little pullback continuing just in the next 1 or 2 days is a very likely outcome now that we've confirmed this new bearish divergence, and also still struggling at this exact resistance. And so due to some of these reasons right here, I have slightly reduced the size of the trade again over on my BTNX account. So still overall long on Bitcoin, but currently this is only just a $50,000 Bitcoin long position. So essentially I've now exited most of this long position over on my BTNX account. And so in case you're wondering, currently it's sitting at around 13 to 1400 USD in unrealized profits and over 5,500 USD in realized secured profits. And if we're taking a look at my 2bit account, I'm still in that $100,000 Bitcoin long position over on 2bit, currently about 1400 USD in unrealized profits. No changes to this trade right here. And so overall, I've not made any massive changes to my current trading strategy. Once again, just taking a bit more profits out of this trade right here over on my BTNX account, just slightly reducing the size of the trade, but still long on Bitcoin, considering at least for now, we've not technically confirmed a new bearish trend or trend reversal signal. So once again, we may see a little bit more of a cool off, which is why I took a bit of profits here, but not closing the entire trade because, like I just said, we've not confirmed a new bearish trend, at least not yet. But even in the worst case scenario, if we do ultimately confirm some sort of bearish trend or continued pullback here, even in that case, of course, I have my stop loss sitting in some slight profits here above my entry for both of these positions, which means even in the worst case scenario, I still come away with profits out of these trades. And so that's an update on my trading strategy for the price of Bitcoin, showing exactly what I'm doing with my own money to profit easily in the crypto market, showing some risk management here, taking a bit of profits at this key resistance here, showing the exact levels to watch out for and possible warning signals here. And of course, if you want to trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto to make a lot of easy profits in crypto, like what I'm doing right now, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking this Bitcoin long position right here over on BTNX. So I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, you can get massive trading deposit bonuses, like for example, 25,000 USDT in trading bonuses simply just by trading crypto using that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. First link below this video. And in case you're wondering, BTNX is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want BTNX as an exchange, once again, my other Bitcoin long position I have open over on my 2bit account. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page where you can also claim massive bonuses. For example, you can claim up to 10,000 USD in trial funds, and 8,000 USDT in actual withdrawable stablecoins. And on top of these major trading bonuses here, you can also get deposit bonuses and a sign up bonus without making any deposit or any trade. No KYC required. Takes about 60 seconds to do this using that second link below this video to 2bit. Once again, you can get a $30 sign up bonus and 1 month free VIP3 upgrade. So basically cheaper fees, very low fees over on 2bit for an entire month, and free money from the exchange simply just by making an account. No KYC, no deposit. You get these bonuses here. Once again, second link below this video. If you don't use that link below this video to 2bit, you can't claim any of these exclusive bonuses. And in case you're wondering, yes, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and we can see that over the last 1 day, roughly 1 day ago now, we perfectly wiped out the liquidity that I've been talking about here on the channel at roughly 117,000. And now technically we still have some more liquidity above the price on this chart right here, and also zoomed out to a slightly larger time frame that I talked about in my last video. We still have a little bit more liquidity, closer towards say 118,000. But with that being said, most of the liquidity here on the 2-week time frame was sitting at roughly 117,000, which has now been wiped out with this latest push towards the upside here. But now that we have a new bearish divergence, it's very likely that this will first play out before we could maybe think of some higher liquidity later on. And so that's simply why I took a little bit more profits out of this long position right here. Once again, not closing the entire trade in case we ultimately continue the bullish trend later on. That's still a possibility, but just taking some profits because it's very likely we are going to see a little bit more of a cool off, maybe even a slight pullback in the next 1 or 2 days is a very likely outcome. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the 3-day time frame, overall, the Bitcoin dominance is kind of just bouncing around sideways. As we can see, we're not really showing significant momentum to either direction, at least in the short term for the Bitcoin dominance. Obviously, we do have a small little bullish divergence here, which could maybe cause either a sideways consolidation or slight bullish relief. Once again, not necessarily a massive bullish move, but kind of just essentially holding up a little bit better than all of the previous bearish price action just in the short term, maybe for a few days. And so obviously, if the Bitcoin dominance is, let's just say, consolidating sideways, that means a lot of the major altcoins are simply just performing very similar to whatever Bitcoin is doing. So if Bitcoin is having a bearish move or a bullish move, expect pretty much the same thing for most of the altcoins. But of course, if we do ultimately see a slight little bullish relief for the Bitcoin dominance, then a lot of the altcoins may perform slightly worse than whatever Bitcoin is doing. But not a lot has changed over the last 1 day for the Bitcoin dominance. So without wasting your time, getting straight into Ethereum, taking a look at the 3-day Ethereum price chart. And right now the price of ETH is still bouncing around in the same sideways price range I've been talking about for weeks now on the channel. Obviously weeks ago, almost a month ago here on the channel every day since then, I've been predicting the price just chopping around sideways in this sideways price range. So obviously for the last few weeks, this is all perfectly playing out as I've been predicting. And in case you're new to the channel, the area of support for the sideways price range is in between around 3.9k to 4.1k. And we also have a bit of support here at around 42.40 to 42.50. And the area of resistance to watch out for this sideways price range is still sitting in between around 4.8k to 4.9k. So not a lot has changed over the last 1 day on this chart. And if we're taking a look at this 4-hour Ethereum price chart, for the last couple of days, the price of ETH has been finding some short-term support in this area in between roughly 44.70 to 4.5k. So just under 4.5k, we do have a lot of support roughly around there, as I've also talked about in recent videos here on the channel. But if the price of ETH ultimately breaks below this area, for example, if we confirm candle closes below roughly 44.70, and especially if we fail to get back above that area, reject from that area, in that situation, it's possible we could see a retest all the way back down towards these lows right here, which will likely act as very strong support sitting in between around 42.50 to 42.80. And as always, pay attention to what the price of Bitcoin and also the Bitcoin dominance are doing to figure out what is likely going to happen for a lot of these altcoins. So for example, if the price of Bitcoin plays out this bearish divergence, which is already starting to do, ultimately this could cause maybe a slight little pullback for some of these altcoins right here, especially if the Bitcoin dominance right here chops around sideways, or especially if the Bitcoin dominance plays out the slight bullish relief. That will not necessarily be good news for some of these altcoins. And so those are the things and the key levels to watch out for Ethereum moving forward. But honestly, not much has changed. We're still in the larger sideways price range. And if we're taking a look at Solana on the 2-day time frame, right now Solana is still holding above and still retesting this key Fibonacci level, sitting at roughly $230, and technically still within a long-term bullish trend, larger bullish price structure on the 2-day Solana price chart, forming higher lows and higher highs. And the next major point of resistance to watch out for if we ultimately continue the bullish trend is sitting at close to 260, really in between 260 to 265 as a strong area of resistance based on previous price action. And above that, the next key level is at around 290 to 300. And once again, the short-term support to watch out for is sitting at around $230. But if we confirm candle closes below 230, especially if we fail to get back above that level, in that situation, the next support to watch out for is sitting at around 215. And below that, the next major area, significant area to watch out for, acting as strong support, is sitting in between around 190 to 200. But honestly, not a lot has changed over the last 1 day for Solana. So without wasting your time, getting straight into the price of XRP here on the weekly time frame, technically we still have a bearish divergence to watch out for, still currently active, not yet invalidated. So keep that in mind on the larger time frames here, the weekly time frame. But if we're taking a look at the daily XRP price chart, we can see that right now we're kind of lacking momentum to either direction. We're in a bit of a sideways price range as of recent, and we also have potentially a bit of an inverse head and shoulders pattern currently forming right now, but not yet confirmed. So something to watch out for in case it ultimately confirms, but once again, still just possibly forming. And as for support and resistance, first of all, we have a lot of support at roughly $2.90. And for that possible inverse head and shoulders pattern, ideally we need to hold above around 285 to 290. And we also have a lot of support at around 275 as well, as I've been saying since before we perfectly bounce from that level at these lows. And as for resistance, we have a lot of resistance at roughly 310, which we briefly broke out above, but still struggling at very close to 310 here on the price chart around these highs. And if we can break out above that level and actually hold above that level, in that situation, the next significant resistance to watch out for is at around 330 to 340 based on these highs. And if we're zooming into the daily XRP price chart, we can see that right now this bullish breakout for this descending triangle pattern is kind of just losing bullish momentum. So technically speaking, it's not yet invalidated. Technically, if you want to argue about this price target, it is still currently active. But once again, I'll not heavily rely on this price target right now, considering the lack in bullish momentum. And also, as I've been saying the entire time since the moment we broke out, even if we have a price target, we cannot ignore other points of resistance on the price chart, which can prevent the price from going higher and cause the price to struggle or possibly reject from those levels of resistance. Like for example, roughly 310 around these highs, we have strong resistance. And if the price of XRP ultimately breaks back below around 295, especially if we break back below 290, in that situation, that would completely invalidate this pattern and this price target. But overall, we're kind of just lacking momentum anyway. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, we can see that right now Chainlink is in a similar situation. Technically, it's still within a long-term bullish trend. We've not yet confirmed a massive trend reversal, but that could be the case if we confirm a break below this low right here. That will start forming some significant bearish price structure, considering we do have this possible lower high now formed on the price chart, and this would actually further confirm as a lower high if we confirm now a lower low breaking below this low. That would be very bearish in terms of the larger price structure if that were to happen. And so for the bulls out there, we definitely need to hold above this low, holding above at least above $22, but ideally around $22.30 to $22.40, give or take. We have a lot of support around there based on this Fibonacci level. So while we're still holding above that level, we're still looking okay. We're potentially just seeing a bit of a cool off, a bit of a shorter term break within a much larger bullish trend. But like I've explained in recent videos here on the channel, if the price of Chainlink actually confirms a break below this low, especially if we confirm candle closes below roughly $22 on the daily time frame, and especially if we fail to get back above that level, in that situation, it's extremely likely the price would come back down towards roughly $20, maybe even below $20, around $19 to $20 as the next major point of support, the next major price target, if we first actually confirm a break below around $22. And as for resistance, obviously continue to expect a lot of resistance at just above $25, around $25.20 based on this high right here, as I've been saying since before we perfectly rejected from around $25.20 based on the latest latest high, still acting as strong resistance. And above that level, we also have strong resistance at around $26.70 to $27. So just under $27, still acting as strong resistance, as I've also been warning about here on the channel since before we perfectly rejected from that level all the way back here. And in terms of what I actually expect moving forward as a very likely outcome, obviously those are the key levels to watch out for on the price chart. But overall, I expect kind of just a lacking momentum, at least in the short term for the next couple of days, especially if Bitcoin plays out this bearish divergence, maybe with a slight pullback or a bit of choppy sideways price action. They'll likely influence a lot of these altcoins, kind of just cooling off a little bit. Not necessarily a massive crash, but basically just cooling off a little bit is very likely here in the short term for the next couple of days. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, like what I'm doing right now, to easily profit in the crypto market, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And once again, use the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can take these trades for yourself to make a lot of easy and quick profits in the crypto market like what I'm doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.